morning to everybody, and I thanks organizer to invite me for this presentation. And I am also very thankful to Dr. Ting to present this together with him in this symposium. So my talk will be a little bit different than what other scientists are talking about, different FDA-approved drugs, synergism, and many combinatorial therapy. So definitely new antiviral strategies, which I am going to talk here, is not FDA-approved drug, but still we are trying to for the patenting, as well as to claim that it can inhibit many RNA viruses. So this is just new antiviral strategies. We also know that many RNA viruses has a great problem, and that is a challenge for clinicians as well as for the scientists, because many RNA viruses evade innate immune evasions, as well as they are also developing resistance against the current FDA antiviral drugs. So, as Dr. Anjali introduced about me and my background, I graduated in Germany, and then I did my postdoctoral studies in the Institute for Medical Virology in Zurich, and then I followed 2 more postdoctoral studies at University of Bonn, Germany, as well as Institute of Virology in the Marburg. And currently, I am assistant professor of virology in a medical college in Turkey. Today, my talk will focus on 3 different aspects. So I am going to talk about antiviral impacts of RIG-I. So this is RIG-I is a viral sensors in our body. We have a retinoic acid inducible gene, and this is called as a viral sensor. So when RNA viruses infect us, their genome, the RNA genome from the RNA viruses, they are recognized by this RIG-I. So RIG-I is known as the viral sensors. And we have also approached that we can inhibit RNA viruses by RIG-I agonist, triphosphorylated RNA, 3-phosphate RNA. So all the RNA viruses which infects us, they have this RNA, and at the 5' they have 3-phosphate groups, PPP. So that is called triphosphorylated RNA. So almost all RNA viruses which infects us, they are coming in our infected cells or in our body, so they expose their triphosphorylated RNA, and then this triphosphorylated RNA is recognized by RIG-I as a viral radar into the cells, and then the interferon production is initiated. But viruses are also very clever. They are just inhibiting this recognition. They are not recognized into the cells by RIG-I. Our second approach is designing bifunctional RIG-I agonist, triphosphorylated RNA. In this approach, we have 2 different strategies. So we have 2 different strategies. One is just to activate the RIG-I pathway, just to stimulate the interferon production. And in the second approach, we want to silence the viral genome. So HCV silencer, siRNA. So we have combinatorial approach, triphosphorylated siRNA. So the function of triphosphate is just to produce interferon into the infected cells, and siRNA function is just to silence the viral genome. So this is a very good combinatorial approach to suppress the virus replication, especially the hepatitis C viruses. We have also one study about the calcium channel blocker, verapamil, and verapamil is just FDA approved drug, and it is a cardiovascular disease. So already it is in the clinical practice. So nobody has tested about the antiviral effect of verapamil on influenza virus, but we have already research articles, and we are continuing very far to claim that verapamil can inhibit many potentially for the RNA viruses influenza. So here, this is just a summary of failure of antiviral drugs, which is already approved by FDA. So we know that mainly RNA viruses are very notorious. They are considered that they are very notorious. They are not responding very well about the FDA approved drug. because of the high mutation rates in viral genome, we know that influenza, HIV, HCV, so these RNA viruses are very prone for the mutations. We also know that many RNA viruses evade the self-recognition by host immune defense system. In our body, after infection, the viruses are having the very clever strategy not to be recognized as a viral pathogens. And they want to be happy and they want to have the productive infection and replication cycles. We also know that many RNA viruses inhibit innate immunity by blocking the function of RIG-I protein. And the RIG-I protein, as I said, that this is a viral sensor or radar in the host. And this is responsible for interferon production in RNA viral pathogens. As we know that hepatitis C viruses develops in the chronicity, chronic infection. How? I mean, there should be some mechanistic study, because in hepatitis infection, hepatitis C virus has one of the protein like NH3/4A protein. They are just inhibiting the function of RIG-I. That's why there is no production of interferon in infected cells. So if there is no interferon, definitely the virus have a very great chance to develop in the chronicity, because there is no antagonism. And even this hepatitis C has a great problem that they do not respond interferon. Interferon is a very interferon has a very short half-life, as well as interferon signaling pathway. Interferon antagonizes the virus not directly, as we know that interferon binds to the interferon receptors into the cells, and they activates many antiviral genes downstream to a JAK state pathway. So this is a problem that hepatitis C virus do not produces interferon into infected cells, and they develop into the chronic hepatitis C virus diseases. We also know that direct targeting viral factors like M2 ion channel blocker of influenza. So why amantadine and rimantadine, they have developed resistance against these drugs? So this is a question, why they are. So targeting the direct viral factors is also one of the leading cause for the development of resistance against the influenza viruses. So that's why we have to find some new generation of antiviral drugs so that they cannot develop the resistance, and influenza is one of the examples. Here is also, I want to claim that new strategies, what I am going to speak about, interrupting viral dependent host factors like many signaling kinases. They are very much required by the viruses. Virus needs this. If you block the function of the kinases, then you are suppressing the viruses. They are not replicating anymore. And as I claimed that immunostimulatory agent triphosphorylated RNA, which I want to claim as antiviral drug, they activate interferon production, as well as they also activate the interferon signaling. So this is, okay. So features of flaviviruses, we know that flavivirus has many viruses in the family. There is a yellow fever virus, hepatitis C virus, West Nile, dengue, Japanese encephalitis virus. And genome of flavivirus is a positive stranded RNA viruses. And after the expression of the polyprotein, there is a structural and non-structural protein, and they are cleaved in the polyprotein with the help of viral and host proteases. And viral encoded polymerase helps in genome replication, and replication of this flaviviruses is exclusively in the cytoplasm. And mainly, non-structural proteins target immunity. They are inhibiting the function of our immunity. Problematic features of flaviviruses, as I mentioned in the beginning, that almost all family of flaviviruses, including hepatitis C, are sensed. Sensed means recognized by retinoic acid inducible gene, which is called as a viral sensors or viral radar. In case of yellow fever virus, you know that we should know that yellow fever virus inhibits interferon induction pathway by disrupting RIG-I, as well as interferon alpha beta induced signaling pathway by blocking JAK stat signaling. And NS4B of yellow fever virus is responsible to block this interferon induction as well as interferon signaling pathway. We also know that hepatitis C virus has NH3 and 4A protein, and they are also targeting on interferon induction pathway by targeting IPS1. IPS1 is a Cardiff adapter protein. So this is a downstream protein that is connected to the RIG-I. So when the viral genome comes into the infected cells. They bind to the RIG-I, and RIG-I gives this, transmits the signal to the IPS1. But this NH3/4A protein inhibits the function of IPS1. In influenza, NS1 has also the target interferon target strategy. So they block the interferon production. Yellow fever virus, we know that yellow fever virus was detected in 1928. Transmission is by mosquito bite. We know that there is a 17-day vaccine strain, so vaccine is available. And this is a hepatotropic virus, so it inhibits the liver of the infected patient. Antiviral drug, we know that until 2004 there was no antiviral drugs against the yellow fever virus, and no FDA approved antiviral drugs are available for yellow fever viruses. Ribavirin, we know that hepatitis C virus is treated by ribavirin, and this is only the drug that is also given to the patient for yellow fever virus treatment. Our question is here that enhancement of interferon induction pathway and interferon mediated signaling pathway by RIG-I agonist triphosphorylated RNA could be antiviral drug. So this is our question. And before I show my research data, I also want to talk about hepatitis C, because hepatitis C and yellow fever virus both belong to family Flaviviridae, and both has a very unique innate immune suppressive strategy in infected cells. So you know that hepatitis C has no vaccines and some potential reasons. HCV has different genotypes. HCV genome mutates very easily. And there was, or still, there is no effective small animal model or cell culture system for hepatitis C virus studies. So this is a great problem that scientists has not grasped the knowledge how to tackle the hepatitis C virus vaccine development or antiviral strategy. So this is a problem, that it's not like influenza. If you just put the influenza virus on the cells and after 4 hours or 6 hours, the virus is coming out. So it's not in case of hepatitis C viruses. There is a very inefficient model. But it's still 3 groups at New York and Heidelberg in Japan, they have recently developed the animal as well as cell culture model to study about hepatitis C. So he's Mohsen Saeed. Saeed is one of my good fellow, and he just reported that that transfecting SEC14L2 protein plasmid into the cells, it enables pan genotypes SCV replication in cell culture. So this is a very interesting data. Just a couple of months before, he just reported that because we know that hepatitis C are 6 or 7 genotypes, and it is very difficult for genotypes to infect and release out from the infected cells. So he was just trying to transfect SEC14L2 protein into the cells, and then he wanted to infect all kind of genotypes, and he found that all genotypes comes out very well. So this is a very good study that they have given this for us. We also know that pegylated interferon in combination with ribavirin is a current HCV treatment, and only 50% patient gives the response for this treatment, and 50% don't. So this is a great problem. There is a mechanistic problem into the infected cells. And current progress in hepatitis C, as we know that in very soon, I think there will be antiviral drugs. I mean, NH3/4A targeted antiviral drugs for HCV will be in the market. I mean, still we have our open question: a stimulative interferon induction pathway by RIG-I ligand in combination with siRNA targeting HCV could be an antiviral intervention. And could it be superior than current recombinant interferon? Because recombinant interferon inhibits some kind of a virus that stops the replication of hepatitis C. But still we have a question whether our strategy could be superior than recombinant interferon. Okay, so just for our belief, people have already analyzed the antiviral immunity via RIG-I mediated recognition of RNA bearing 5' diphosphate. So they have already reported that RIG-I has also impact on antiviral immunity. They have also, this is my group where I did my postdoctoral studies, and they also studied that 5' triphosphorylated siRNA can turn gene silencing, and that can also activate RIG-I against melanoma. So cancer is also very sensitive with this 5' triphosphorylated siRNA. So they can very strongly stop the progression of cancer. 5' triphosphorylated small interfering RNA control replication of hepatitis B virus in the same manner like interferon response and silencing in the liver cells. And there is also that triphosphorylated RNA can induce the ZAPs as a potent stimulatory molecule. So this is all the papers which has been already published, what I am going to propose about the antiviral effect of triphosphorylated RNA. As I said, that why RIG-I ligand as antiviral RNA therapeutic molecule if recombinant interferon is available in the market. Okay, so because of that triphosphorylated RNA is the signature molecule present in viral genome. So all the RNA viruses which is infecting us, they have this RNA and they have PPP triphosphate at the 5' end. So when they come into the infected cells, they are recognized and sensed by the RIG-I. Okay, so this triphosphorylated RNA in a viral virus, they stop the function of RIG-I after. So that is, they are just inhibiting the innate immunity. And sensing of triphosphorylated RNA stimulate the interferon production, as I said. And viruses are also very clever to escape. Either they don't want to be recognized into the infected cells, or after recognition, they want to stop the function of some innate immune proteins. So this is, therefore, using RIG-I ligand, triphosphorylated RNA could be an antiviral approach against many infectious diseases, including cancer. Here, I just want to claim a few things regarding RIG-I ligand, triphosphorylated RNA, that we know that interferon treatment is very expensive and requires frequent dosing, since half-life of interferon is very short. And there is also great side effect. And RIG-I ligand, which we are using, triphosphorylated RNA, they induce interferon for longer time, not for short time. So if I am infected with hepatitis C virus, and if you are giving me triphosphorylated RNA, so triphosphorylated RNA should be able to induce interferon for longer time. I think 16 hours we have observed in a kinetic study that until 16 hours they are robust increased level of interferon in infected cells. So for this study, for hepatitis C replicon study, we used the subgenomic HCV replicon. We know that these days people are also using the replicon system, and replicon is just artificial virus. So you just delete some kind of a structural protein, and you integrate some kind of a reporter. So this is a replicon model. So you can just use this for your study. As I mentioned, that when hepatitis C virus infects the cells, so you see that this is a hepatitis C virus genome, and they first meet to the RIG-I, retinoic acid inducible gene, and this RIG-I has 3 domains: regulatory domain, helicase domain, and there is a CART domain. And there is some signaling pathway. So NS3 protein of hepatitis C virus, they are just inhibiting the IPS1. So if it is blocked, there is no further transmission from RIG-I to produce the interferon. So this is a very clever strategy by hepatitis C virus, NS3-4A protein. So they are just inhibiting this adapter protein, IPS1. So that's why we want to apply triphosphorylated RNA so that this pathway will be activated and interferon will be produced in enough amount so that you can claim. So for this study, we do in vitro transcription, because we know that any kind of a this is the in vitro transcription, and we make messenger RNA, and then we transfect the messenger RNA into the cells. So you see that this is we claim here that triphosphorylated RNA potentially inhibits yellow fever replicon and 17D replicon at non-toxic concentration in HepG2 cell lines. So there is an inhibition. You know, this is a triphosphorylated RNA 0.8 microgram, and this is a 0.2 microgram, and you see that it is a dose dependent. So this is a 0.8 microgram, it is a very strong inhibitor, triphospholate. The toxicity we have checked, and there is no toxic effect of triphosphorylated RNA. We have also tested on 17D. 17D is a live viruses, and this is a replicon study. This is a 17D studies. So in both cases, the triphosphorylated RNA inhibits very strongly. We can also show here that triphosphorylated RNA at 0.8 microgram per milliliter dose, they produces approximately 10,000 unit per milliliter interferon in infected cells. So that's why you see this is a triphosphorylated RNA, this is a recombinant interferon, and you can see that recombinant interferon is also inhibiting the virus, and triphosphorylated RNA also inhibits the virus replication. Here is also the same. So this is the same time of treatment. It means when we infect the virus, and then we treat with triphosphorylated RNA, and at the same time we are also applying recombinant interferon beta. And this is for our pre-treatment of triphosphorylated RNA, because we know that triphosphorylated RNA will come into the cells and they will start producing interferon. So in this case, triphosphorylated RNA seems to be more potent than the recombinant interferon. I also want to show here that triphosphorylated RNA do not inhibit a yellow fever virus replication in interferon deficient viro cells. We know that viro cells has no interferon gene, so even if you apply triphosphorylated RNA, they will not produce interferon, and there will be no antagonism of the virus. And recombinant interferon B, it does, because it has effect. And here is a RIG-I MAPS. You know, you are just knock down the RIG-I, and you are applying triphosphorylated RNA. So there is no any kind of inhibition. This is a triphosphorylated. So if you knock down the RIG-I, and if you apply triphosphorylated RNA, there will be no suppression of the virus. Here is a wild type. In a wild type also, there is no inhibition we see here. Here I want to say that overexpression of flag-tagged RIG-I is not sufficient to inhibit yellow fever virus replication that requires its ligand. You know, so RIG-I and alone cannot suppress the virus, but the agonist of the RIG-I is important, triphosphorylated RNA. So this is a study. We have a pre-treatment and after treatment. In both cases, they are not working. It means it requires the ligand. Here I want to show. Sorry. So here is the enhancement effect of triphosphorylated RNA on RIG-I signaling for the induction of type 1 interferon. You know, so when we infect the cells with yellow fever virus, you see that we have analyzed ZAP, RIG-I, we have interferon, we have IP10, and we have interferon alpha. So you see that triphosphorylated RNA is able to produce enough interferon beta, enough IP10, interferon alpha in PBMC blood. And you can also see that ZAP is one of the PARP, and that is also very much induced in presence of triphosphorylated RNA, and RIG-I is also very much. So this is the effect of triphosphorylated RNA in the enhancement effect of on the enhancement of RIG-I signaling for the induction of type 1 interferon. Here I want to show that triphosphorylated RNA enhancement effect of triphosphorylated RNA on interferon signaling for the upregulation of antiviral genes via JAK-STAT pathway. You know that there are many interferon-dependent genes. So signaling pathway, all the components of the signaling pathway like IRF9, MXA, STAT1, STAT2, ISG15, and 2,5-OAS and RNase L. And you can see if it too, that is a interferon stimulated gene 54, interferon stimulated gene 56. So very interestingly, ISG54 is not able to be upregulated in presence of triphosphorylated RNA, but ISG56, they are very much upregulated in presence of triphosphorylated RNA. So that, and you can also see that potent inhibitory effect of triphosphorylated RNA on viral protein production. So this is the triphosphorylated RNA. In infected cells, you see that triphosphorylated RNA is able to suppress all NS4B production, and this is a mock. You can see that very nice NS4 production. So this is the second readout. We have done also the Renilla luciferase assay, and in this case also you can see that triphosphorylated RNA can suppress Renilla luciferase and NS4B So this is a study about the yellow fever virus. If you want to give me the time, then I can also show that synergistic antiviral effect of bifunctional RIG-I ligand 3P siRNA. So we have a combinatorial design. So I can just explain the design. This is the design of the drug. Okay. So what we have hepatitis C virus mRNA, and we have siRNA between 320 to 339. So this is a siRNA, and what we are doing, we are just incorporating triphosphate PPP, and there is a PPP plus 3 additional nucleotides, and in this approach we have siRNA, and we are also combining triphosphate with 5 additional bases at the 5 prime. So because these are just triphosphorylated siRNA, and then we want to apply this siRNA. So you can see here very well study therapeutic dose response of 3P RNA without siRNA, and also 3P siRNA in HCV stable cell lines. So this slide suggests that if I talk about HCV stable cells, it means the cells has already HCV replicons, and all the cells are replicating autonomously. So this is a HCV stable cell lines, and this is a transient replication of hepatitis C viruses. So you can see that in a chronic, I mean, you can just say that this is a chronic infected cells. If I say the stable, it means almost all cells are infected with the hepatitis C viruses. And you can see that in a chronic case, there is no effect of triphosphorylated RNA because your RIG-I is completely inhibited. Here also you can see this is a dose dependent. So siRNA is inhibiting, and these are the combinatorial approach. So they are very much effective. So they are just inhibiting the virus replication. You can also see in the transient replication that in the transient replication means virus is coming, and this is just like a fulminant hepatitis. If I am infected acutely, and if I have been given by triphosphorylated RNA, in this case I can be cured. You see that there is very strong inhibition. But in the autonomous replicating cell lines, there is no inhibition by triphosphorylated RNA. It means RIG-I is totally inhibited in a chronic case, but not in a transient case. So this is the result, and I want to conclude that siRNA 321 is a potent silencer of HCV. siRNA 321 do not produce interferon at non-toxic doses. And these are the combinatorial approach. It shows that it is a superior effect than the siRNA. And 3P siRNA produces interferon alpha and beta, but not siRNA 321 alone. And so this is my study, and this is my acknowledgement. So there is a Institute of Virology in Germany. There is a Bonn, and also in Ohio I have a collaboration for another viruses, not for these viruses. And here is for hepatitis C viruses, and here is the influenza guide. And my teacher is also sitting here in India. Thank you very much.